Welcome to the Two Unlikely Christians podcast. I'm comedian Pat McCool coming to you lakeside in the deep piney woods of South Mississippi. And now all the way across the ocean, we find esteemed psychotherapist and addiction specialist and international man of mystery, Richard Turl.
That is me. Yeah.
What's up, mate?
Hello, mate. You all right? You got over your, obviously we had a little time kind of difference thing. So you logged in an hour ago.
We did. So I bust up out of bed in the morning, and I think we're 6 hours ahead. And I sit down. I see.
There's your first error. You're 6 hours behind.
Yeah, 6 hours behind. So I'm sitting here and I hustle up because I'm a total train wreck. I've just had a mess of a week. And then I get up early. I mean, to me, that's early. And I get to the thing and I'm like, I'm here 10 minutes early. And then you send back and go, it's not time yet, mate. I'm like, okay. I forgot that what we do in America is in the spring, we just turn the clocks up an hour forward. And then in the fall, we move them back. So I can't explain this. We've just been doing it. It's called daylight savings time. I don't know that you can possibly daylight savings time. I mean, if you're doing it for farmers or whatever, why don't they just get up when the sun comes up? But that's how we roll, and that's how I ended up sitting here an hour and 15 minutes early. But now I've recovered.
We do the same thing, but I think we're usually about a week behind you. So I think in a week's time, it'll even back out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man. That's okay. You've got this, though, honestly, like between your, technology, you got your iPhone or Android or whatever it is you're doing over there in Mississippi. And you can look stuff up, and you've got your wife as well. She'll probably help. You know what I mean? If you just ask her, just leave her in charge of it, Pat. That's probably the best thing.
She literally has woken me up before and said, you got a podcast with Richard. That's not the problem. The problem is I thought for 6 months that I had gained an hour because since we're always you're 6 ahead, you're afternoon and I'm morning. I'm not a morning person. I spend the first hour of my day trying to figure out a reason to live. I'm like, you ever seen the evolution shirt with the monkeys?
Yeah, Charles Darwin.
Yeah, well, it starts off with the monkey, and then it ends up, goes to Cro-Magnon, and then we get to Homo sapien, like 6 beings later. That's me from the bed, out of my room, across the living room floor, to the little coffee bar that my wife has set up on a British tea table, by the way, that I got that was passed down from my mother. I don't reach Homo sapien or Homo erectus until I get to the coffee bar and the coffee comes out. And then I grunt a few times and I start rolling.
So I just want to backtrack a minute, Patrick. So did you refer to that as the evolution shirt, as in like this is an image that you saw on a garment of some kind?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that image, it doesn't just exist on a T-shirt that you may have bought in a gas station somewhere in the arse end of Hattiesburg, right? It's got quite a famous image. It's linked to the theory of evolution, but yeah, that is like the most deep south thing you've ever said. You seen that shirt? Yeah, no, it's not just a shirt, bro. Like the image exists elsewhere. Like it's just they put it on that shirt. You know what I mean? And so
that's the difference between a secondary education from Bath University and 3 years in the 10th grade. And as I've said before, the 10th grade was the best 3 years of my life, but maybe I didn't pay attention that they covered that. Yeah, to me, that was just on a T-shirt. So maybe when I describe that in the future, maybe you saw it in a textbook and I saw it on some fat guy's T-shirt at a gas station. Yeah. And that's where I got it from. Yeah, no, nothing like defining the difference between the two of us. But yeah,
it's fine, man. I thought you just lost track of time. Like I know when you're on a heavy meth session, like time can pass very quickly. So.
Well, this week is not a meth session. This week, I'm like walking off some COVID.
Oh
You know,
man, I'm
COVID.
sorry to hear.
That's quite all right. I've probably had it 4 or 5 times. I was probably one of the first people in America that got it because I had been traveling and I started feeling really bad. And I had all these bad symptoms. I couldn't get out of bed, and I walked it all a few days. I finally got better, and then 2 weeks later, the whole world shut down. And I realized when they started talking about the symptoms, I'm like, well, was the symptoms that I had. And I didn't realize as I was coming out of that COVID or whatever I had, that I had a disease that literally, as a comedian, in 30 days was going to make me the most non-essential person on the planet. You know, because everything was like on how essential you were. Well, a guy cracking jokes, Richard, is not. I mean, like the Subway, you know, the Jersey Mike's sub delivery guy was a hero, and I was the most useless person on the planet for about 1 or 2
Well,
years.
you know what? I beg to differ, Pat. Actually, and you said that to me, you know, once or twice before. But I think that probably laughter was much more important during that time period. So I would beg to differ. But I hear you. Your employment, like, you know, obviously it's very difficult to work as a comedian when there's no theatres open and stuff like that. But like, I mean, the thankful thing is that obviously led to you driving an Uber, and that is where we met. Was in an Uber. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know if we've ever spoke on here. I don't know if you'd remember, right? But like so the circumstances of that meeting are actually, I mean, obviously it's a huge chance coincidence because I happen to be in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which doesn't have a huge kind of tourist presence. You know, there's not many guys from England that end up there, right?
You grew up in the West End thinking one of these days I'm going to go visit Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's not a thing really. So I happened to be there anyway, right? But the funny thing was we'd ordered an Uber because obviously there was a storm and everything was closing down and we couldn't get the plane from Hattiesburg. So we were trying to get to, you know, we got to New Orleans to try and pick up a flight, which, you know, to be honest with you, by the time we got to New Orleans, everything had kind of gone sideways there anyway with the flights. But we ordered the Uber. Another guy took the job. He even messaged and said, look, I just need to stop and get some fuel. It's a long ride. And then all of a sudden he just disappeared, right? He just cancelled. And then we got another, you know, another driver took the job and it came up with a picture of your smiling face and your Uber star rating, which is, you know, a very respectable 2.7. And then
I think it's the duct tape and the ski mask that people see on the back floor, that saw on the back floor of my car that kind of made them a little bit nervous. And the camera, and the camera mounted, the small camera I had mounted behind the passenger seat, pointing at, you know, at people's knees. They got a little nervous about that, but it was all in good fun.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes a couple of bad reviews, right?
That's it. And I don't know if the guy that originally took the ride has ever made it out of his trunk where I left him, but you know, it's
Well, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, man. I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
It turned out to be one of the best things because you meet people. Well, first off, meeting you. I mean, we literally started a conversation that we're still having. And it all started with, how you doing? I hear the voice. Where are you from? And then boom, we were covering a lot of ground. We had really, after 2 hours and 15 minutes later, we had just begun the conversation when you stepped out of the car. So that was a great blessing. And I don't think anything happens by accident. There's a chapter in my book called What a Coincidence, which is sarcasm because I don't think anything's a coincidence, and that's what brought us together. But you learn so much about so many people just sitting there talking to them, going about their day-to-day business. So being forced into doing that was actually quite a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I did. The COVID kind of came back. My wife had it the first part of the week, and you know this being married, that the way illnesses happen in a married family, the woman gets sick, And you don't really notice that she does because if you got kids and pets and things like I do, because the woman just gets up and keeps going. They are far more, whether we realize it or not, emotionally or mentally strong than we are. My wife is, to me, by any stretch of the imagination. Gets up, does everything, takes care of business. You see her checking her temperature a little bit. You've taken some ibuprofen, but she goes on about her business. So she can't be that sick, right? Because she couldn't be functioning. And then she gets over it, and then I get it. Well, you might as well put ash on the front door because I'm in the robe, I'm in the bed, I got the medicine. Well, I got the soup. I'm whining like a baby goat. I'm just so I had the chills, and so I went through that and started feeling a little better yesterday. But then I had to do. This is what I wanted to ask you about. I had to do my taxes. So in America, we do our taxes, and we have the most ridiculous tax system that you could ever possibly imagine. And I'm not complaining about paying taxes. I don't mind paying taxes. I mean, I love the, infrastructure, everything we have, right up to being able to place a guided missile through a Ayatollah's bathroom while he's checking Facebook at 2 o'clock in the morning. Not complaining about any of that. It's just the way we pay it. We have this big, huge, convoluted system where I think you're like me. Half the country are wage employees. You go to work, they give you a paycheck. The
It's all
employer
done,
takes
taken care of for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not only is it not taken care of, but at the end of the year, when you file your taxes, they send you money back. So they
yeah,
actually.
often. Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know if that goes on in Britain, but if you're someone like myself, and I'm thinking maybe you, because you're
yeah.
in business, you get paid by different sources and all this money comes in, and then you got to go in and put all that together, and then you got to put all your expenses together. And here it's like if you claim this much expenses, you owe this much. But if you claim a little bit more, you start owing more, but then you start dropping it. It's just the weirdest thing. How do they do it in Great Britain?
Similar, man. Like, I mean, look, I used to. There's different ways, but like, yes, I do. It's been some years since I was employed by someone that took care of it for me, and then there might be a balance in payment at the end of the year, and that can go either way, right? They can write to you and say, actually, your employer didn't give us enough for your money. You need to give us some more, or they can write back to you and say your employer gave us too much, and here's some back, which is obviously a very pleasant surprise. But yeah, I do it myself. I used to be quite what would you say, like a kind of, like bury my head in the sand, and then like I'd get to that, I'd do it like maybe a couple of weeks before it was due, and like I'd kind of put the numbers into the computer, and then I'd almost like brace, like, because I had no idea what was going on, right? And like brace, like push the button to submit it, look away, take a few deep breaths, look back, and then see what the number on the screen was, and like, you're like, oh my God, look, it was just so. But now I kind of have a rough idea, and I've got an accountant and stuff, so I have a rough idea what's going on all the way along. And yeah, and I have the money put aside and stuff like that. So it's better. It's less anxious for me. And at the minute, I'm in a kind of weird scenario where I'm actually trying to pay more tax because I want to buy a house. And if you want to buy a house, then you have to borrow money. And then the bank wants to see that you've got an income. And most of my income comes into my business. And I'm an employee of my own business. I think you call them LLCs. We call them LTDs, limited companies, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, at the minute, I'm actually trying to pay more tax, which is kind of an odd
Yeah.
turnaround. Yeah.
Okay. We're all the same then. Because first
Yeah.
off, your thing on pressing the button, that's exactly what I felt like yesterday. I feel like I'm at a casino. I feel like I'm just like, I'm just sweating. My wife comes out, I'm not talking, she's like, I always can tell I'm getting tense. I'm like, come on. And that's exactly what happened. And then when you do go in America, when you go to buy a house, you want your tax return to show the most taxes you possibly
Quite
can.
healthy. Yeah, you need it healthy, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. Did you know over here, I don't know if it's the same as over there, right? But the tax people, we call them the HMRC, you call them the IRS, right?
Right.
They have more power than the police. You know what I mean? Like they have more power than anyone else, right? They can come in. They don't need a warrant. They can come in and they have absolutely, complete access to your records, your home, your business, your, whatever it might be. Complete access, no warrant required. Like if they come for you, you're in trouble. I mean, obviously they come for people who they suspect have been avoiding their taxes or evading their taxes, right? But yeah, man, like if they get a knock on the door, like you're better off having the, what we call our armed response. You'd call them the SWAT team. You've got a better chance if the SWAT team comes to your door. Like the HMRC, IRS, they're serious dudes, man. They don't mess about. They'll turn you upside down, like shake you, grab you by the legs and shake you and see what comes out your pockets.
It just dawned on me. We basically just rearranged the images of the colors on the flag because that's exactly what happens here. The IRS can go that nobody else can go. Anybody else wants money from you, they can sue, they can do whatever. The IRS can just go in there and take it.
Yeah, exactly. But you know why that is, Patrick? You know why your system so closely mirrors the English system?
Why is that?
Well, because it's our system. You guys you're us, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? We've kind of built your country.
Yeah,
and you
I've said that.
But yeah, all right. I know. Don't get defensive. You know what I mean?
No. I've said that all along. I lived in New York, New Jersey, knew everything. The town I lived in was the county that I lived in was named after England. Was a county in England. The city was Bridgewater. That's from England. We just put new on a whole bunch of things and changed a few things around. And speaking of, that was the whole reason, because we just didn't want to give the taxes. We didn't want to send the tax. Now that you mentioned it, it's just like, you know what? We appreciate the infrastructure. We appreciate the roads. We really appreciate you kicking the French and the Native Americans off this land that we're wanting here. That was a really chappy thing for y'all to do, but we got this now.
Yeah, I would just like to say before we go any further that I do distance myself from Patrick McCall's comments about the Native Americans. That wasn't cool. That wasn't cool. Definitely, and I say that in all seriousness. But Bridgewater,
well, it wasn't really the Native Americans. It was the French we were fighting, and the French were using the Native Americans.
Bridgewater. So I had a friend that lived in Bridgewater when I was still a very enthusiastic drug addict, right? A keen drug addict, right? And I went down to visit my friend in Bridgewater, and I took with me some very strong opiate-based pain medication, right? And which was for to be used for recreational purposes. And there was this quite nice French restaurant down there, right? And like my friend, he was kind of quite a classy kind of dude. I at this particular juncture in my life was definitely not, right? But he's like, oh, let's go and get some food. I was like, where are we going to go? And he said, oh, there's this great French restaurant, right? But before we went, we've taken some of this medication, right? Quite a lot of this medication. Anyway, by the time
been there and done that.
By the time the main course comes, we've both like nodded out, at the dinner table, right? And
y'all were just out.
Yeah, man, we were just like passed out at the table, like, and I was in slightly better shape than my friend, so I kept kicking his leg, like Jamie. Like we've got to do something. We got to move, man. Do you know what I mean? And we both just sat there like completely KO'd, man, at this dinner table. Like, yeah, it was. Yeah, those were the days. Those weren't the days, but yeah, funny times in their own way, man.
Similar experiences, but again, I would always take it to a higher level of stupidity. I remember going to a football game 2 hours up the road. And our team won. Me and my friend drank like we were drinking like 100 proof bourbon. We drank that all through the game. And then we got in the car and decided to drive home. So we're gonna make this weave home. And we decided we had a great idea. We had something called a Quaalude. Now, you're a little too young to remember a Quaalude.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about them though. But yeah, please, I am all ears.
That drug was my downfall. When those things came, when those things came to town, the tow truck drivers made a lot of money. Matter of fact, if you remember in my book, we totaled several cars on because it was this pill. You would take the pill and then you would drink a few, alcoholic beverages, and you would just all of a sudden think, "Hey, man, why don't we go for a drive?" I mean, you wouldn't even be out of the driveway, and you'd be like, "Man, when did they 4-lane this thing?" I mean, it was like, boom. What a stupid place for a mailbox. I mean, you couldn't even make it out of the neighborhood, but off we went because, because it made you feel like you wanted to go meet some members of the opposite sex, if you get my drift.
I'm with you, Patrick. I'm following you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But when you got there, we were going to be like you and your friend at the restaurant, just totally nodding off. I mean, when you look back up on some of the stupidest things that people did. But speaking of, and I'm not going to say this is a stupid thing, but for our audience, I want to hear the story. So the people that don't know, Richard, to save a few bucks, since we're talking about money, Richard decides to go. I don't know where Richard is for 3 or 4 days, because the way we operate, like Richard texts me, I text him back. I text Richard 5 days later. I get a video of Richard going down a road with palm trees and what looks like an Arabian or Mediterranean Sea, and Shireen sticking her tongue out at me. And it turns out he's on vacation. So here's what he did, folks. To save a few dollars, Richard decides to go on vacation in a war zone.
Oh, man.
So listen, I'm on. How did you sell this to Shireen? Hey, Shireen, listen, there's this massive fireworks celebration going on in the Middle East. I've got the sweetest deal on an Airbnb. And I got some dirt cheap plane tickets. As a matter of fact, we're going to have the whole plane to ourselves, because we're the only ones going to be flying in the direction of where we're going. So the moral of the story is, when the bombs all started dropping, Rich decides it's a great time to go to the Middle East. Go ahead.
Go on. Well, we'd already booked it, right? So we went to Egypt, yeah. But and it's true, right? So when the war, you were already booked it. My wife's half Egyptian, right? We booked a really nice resort and stuff like that. I really need a holiday. So before I was married, I'd quite often go off and spend a couple of weeks in the US or down in South Africa, where I've got friends in these places, and kind of potter about, doing my own thing, sometimes do a bit of work while I was away, because I can work remotely and stuff like that. And then you become married, and that's much less of an option to do that thing. So I haven't had a trip overseas for a while, right? Other than a couple of work thing here and there. But so we had this trip booked, and it's in Egypt, right? Which is not far. It's a few hundred miles, but it's not far from the conflict in the Middle East, right? And so what we decided, we were like, are we going to go? Is it dangerous? They were looking at stuff online. We're looking at our foreign office, their travel advice. Some bozo at your end put out on Twitter that Egypt wasn't a safe place to go. It's not a traditional route for that information to be disseminated. It must be said via Twitter.
Right? Wait, it was on what? Some bozo?
X. So some guy at your end put up on X that Egypt was somewhere everyone should leave Egypt immediately. Egypt was fine, man. There was no travel disruption, no bombs, nothing. It's business as usual. It's heaving, it's thriving, no plane disruption, nothing at all. Do you know what I mean? But what we decided, Patrick, was after we had some debate, are we going to go? If we cancel the holiday because they're still flying, and we lose some money, and do we cancel, swallow that, rebook, go somewhere else, whatever? And what we decided, Patrick, was do you know what? Worst case scenario, we get shot out of the air, and we know where we're going. Yeah, we're going to meet Jesus, right? So we're all right with that. You know, and that was the basis on which we decided to go, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it all does all go wrong, then we know where we're going anyway, so we're all right. True story.
So that's beautiful. You know what? Why should we wait? Why should we risk losing our money when the worst thing that could happen is we're going to end up in the presence of our Lord Jesus?
Yeah, man, that's true.
And I believe you. I believe
Yeah.
that's actually the conversation you had. You really had that.
Yeah, that really happened, man. We were just watching, my wife and this is kind of like a bit of an odd turn of events. So we do at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is 4 o'clock our time. There is, or is it? Is that why we didn't get it in? Maybe the time difference.
11 Eastern here, 5 o'clock to you.
Oh,
No. Wait.
Well, it was 5, but I wonder if it's different.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes life easier and a bit less frightening. So,
hold on, I'm a little confused.
Well, basically, we went to join. We do this like marriage group online, but it comes out of Staten Island, right? It's a Christian marriage group, and we tried to join a couple of times earlier, and they kicked us out of the waiting room on Zoom. So we didn't know if we'd been like blackballed or what. So I can't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, that happened. Is it the time difference? I know this maybe this.
No, the time's right because this is 12. I was thinking 11:15. We're 5 behind you.
What's
5 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern would be 4 o'clock, and you were telling me about something.
What's the time in MIC right now? I said they're 4 hours behind at the moment.
We're 5 hours behind.
5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, that makes sense. I thought we'd literally been shunned from this marriage group we've been doing for the last couple of months. But yeah, that's right. Time difference. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, man. So look, Patrick, we all both fell prey to the time difference. Our clocks go back in. Let's have a look. When do the clocks go back in the UK? Clocks change twice. Yeah, I know that. Last Sunday in March. So ours changed tomorrow. That's why. That's right. There's a week's difference between the changes in the US and the UK. So yeah, man, it's not just you, Pat. If that helps, I mean, often the power of identification is just a helpful thing. You know, we know that you're not alone. You know, if you make mistakes, fall short, you're not the only one. So much as I was teasing you at the beginning of this for your time in related error, I was right in the middle of my own one when I was messaging you back, rolling my eyes. This guy, man, this guy.
I love the way you're a master of brevity. You send a link, I click on it, and I'm thinking since you sent the link early, you're ready to roll because we were going to meet an hour earlier. So I go ahead and say, Rich, I'm ready. I'm good. I'm gooch, man. I'm up here. And I just get, this quick little 3-line. It's 4 p.m. 4 p.m. UK, mate. No, what do you mean? Are you a little early? Do you know? There's nothing to that 4 p.m. UK, mate.
It's 4 o'clock right here right now. Yeah.
It was like three words that took the place of a whole paragraph of what the freak are you hitting me up an hour early for? What's going on? 4 p.m. UK, mate.
Yeah, just trying to help, Pat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just trying to help.
Well, it worked. It worked. It gave me a chance to take a shower because I had been feeling kind of rugged this week. But so the thing in Egypt, y'all had. I mean, I sent the next thing Richard sends. For those that are listening, is he sends a picture looking like Lawrence of Arabia, sitting on a beach somewhere, wearing the what is it called?
I think it's called a shema. It's SEHEMAGH, I believe. But yeah, like one of the kind of Arabic.
You rocked it, man. No, you look good. You had the swoop. You had the whole Peter O'Toole and the shades.
Well, so that was the first time I put it on because my wife put it on me, right? And it was, it was good enough, right? But then we did this quad biking experience, right? And this was really cool. So we did this quad bike experience through the desert, right? Really recommend it if you ever happen to be that way. North of Hurghada, it was a company called Alex Tours. Big up to them. It was a great, it was really, really good. And I've done quad biking trips, a couple of different places in the world, and this was by far the best one. So we're doing this quad bike. We've got this quad bike experience booked, yeah. And we had the cloths because it said if you need to bring one of those headscarves, yeah, to protect you from the sand and the dust and that, right? Obviously, as you're burning through the desert on a quad bike, you're kicking up a lot of sand and a lot of dust, yeah. So we've got this booked. It's a sunset trip, yeah. So you're going to kind of zoom through the desert. You go and meet some Bedouins, right? And then you
What
go.
are you riding?
Where what?
What are you riding? A what bike?
Quad bike, a four-wheeler. I think you guys would call it.
We don't call it a quad bike, but yeah, it'd be a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, four-wheeler, right? So I mean, it's
ATV, all terrain.
Yeah.
I guess
we call it a four-wheeler, why? Because it's got four wheels.
It's got 4 wheels.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny, man.
Yeah. You got to throw the British got to be. No, it's quad. We're not going to say 4. We're going to
keep it really simple. Yeah, 4 wheels, right? So
he come rolling over the hill on that 4-wheeler, man.
I think the reason we differentiate it, Pat, is because quite a lot of vehicles have 4 wheels. I'm driving my 4-wheeler.
I give you that. Yeah,
not like your car, truck, like what? So look, we're doing this thing. We've got this thing booked, right? And
we'll put a smiley on the board for Richard because I guess you win that one. You are right.
Yeah. That's how I'm ahead on points today, man. But
there are other vehicles now with 4 wheels.
Yes, we just tried to differentiate a little bit, yeah. But and then we wake up in the morning and the weather app's telling us it's going to be like a beautiful sunny day, right? And it's a sandstorm. There's all this sand in the air, right? And you can't see the sun. It's like a proper sandstorm. I've never experienced anything like that. Anyway, it turns out the weather app doesn't report sandstorms, right? So it's showing us sunny because behind the sandstorm, the sun is out, right? Now, my argument on that is behind cloud cover, the sun is out. Somewhere behind the night time, the sun is out, right? Like the sun's always out somewhere, right? Anyway, so we're there and we're like, are we going to go? Are we going to go? Like, my wife's like, we should cancel it. I take that, having paid out for this trip with my usual good grace. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to waste the money because if your final decision is, do we risk wasting the money? If we get shot out of the sky, if that's in a conversation over saving money, well, then by golly, you're going on that quad bike tour if you pay for it. I can see.
We went on this trip, man, and actually it was great because the sand in the air, like the sun was just this like kind of mystical, like disc set in the sky, right? And then the sand and stuff, and it was biblical, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of desert crossings and time in the desert, and the wilderness and stuff. Obviously, like Jesus, Mary, and Joseph escaped to Egypt, right? Like the Jews wandered in God's chosen people wandered in the desert for 40 years. Like Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, right? So deserts, particularly in Egypt, are pretty biblical kind of places, right? Bro, going through this desert in the sandstorm, it was spectacular. I sent you some pictures, man. It was spectacular. It was eerie. It was great. It was great, man. It was really, really great. But anyway, the point being about those headcloth things. So the Bedouin.
Where were you actually? You never told me. You just told me you were in Egypt.
Yeah, so we were.
Cairo? Well,
no, Cairo's a little bit inland, right up towards in the north of the country. Right, and then you've got the Red Sea. So there were two, I could be wrong, but I am aware of 2 big Red Sea resort kind of towns, cities, right? Like, so you've got Sharm el Sheikh, which is right up the top, not far from the border with Israel. Now, Sharm el Sheikh is still open, right? But possibly going there would be a little bit more like questionable. We were in Hurghada. We were north of a place called Hurghada. So Hurghada is much further down the coast on the so it's on the coast of the Red Sea. And then we were about 20 miles then north of Hurghada. Hurghada's like big. You've got like huge, almost like city-like
The Red Sea in the
hostels.
background.
Yeah, the Red Sea, man. So
Because
Hurghada's gone.
yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
That's right. Hurghada's got loads of huge, big, all-inclusive hotel resort places. So we were a bit, look, no, we're both sober, right? So we don't drink. So all-inclusive's not really our vibe. Like most people's entertainment in all-inclusive is getting drunk, right? So we were further up the coast in a place called El Guna, which is a sort of smaller resort compound. These kind of man-made lagoons. It's on the coast, but yeah, it was beautiful, man. So we stayed up there. But yeah, look, like I mean, it's a bit for us. It's like a 5-hour flight. Obviously for you guys, it's a huge distance. Right?
Went Heathrow straight into Egypt.
We flew out of there's a little airport called London Luton Airport, which is so we've got Heathrow. Heathrow tends to be, not exclusively, but it tends to be long haul, tends to be big planes, big airlines, right? But then you've got London Luton, London Stansted, London Southend. There's these smaller airports where the low cost carriers tend to fly out. If you're like, well, you couldn't have like your guys like American Eagle, like that stuff.
They're kind of the regional.
Yeah, like so. But you have regional. Obviously, we don't. Like they're like kind of like European flights, so like much shorter.
If you're going international out of New York, you're going to go out of JFK. If you're going American, you're usually going to go LaGuardia, although some of those can go maybe international. DC, same thing. One's Reagan, one's
exactly. So we flew out of the LaGuardia, London's LaGuardia. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, it was great. It was a great holiday. We're planning like I met my wife's family, which was wonderful. And we plan to go back later this year.
So you met them. Well, you were finishing a story on the thing you were rocking.
Oh yes, well done, Pat. So, like the guy who's running the expedition, the quad four-wheeler, whatever you want to call it, expedition, right, comes round to put the headcloth on, properly like Arabic Bedouin, Lawrence of Arabia style, right? He did mine up so tight, yeah, like so tight, which I guess it has to be, but it was like I felt like it was cutting off the blood supply to my brain, but I got some pictures of that as well. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a cool trip, cool people, such friendly people, the Egyptians. Like I had the service in the restaurants, just the demeanor of like the hotel staff, like they couldn't do enough for you. Very friendly, very genuine, warm kind of people. I went to a dinner last night, like a works dinner at a very fancy kind of posh restaurant bar in Chelsea, which is like, you obviously you have a Chelsea in New York, right? I think it's the same sort of vibe. It's kind of happening and hip and cool. And
Chelsea area, but yeah, I know where. I mean, I've heard of Chelsea, and of course we have a Chelsea area. Well, that was what we were talking about in the beginning. We have everything you had because y'all came over here and set it up.
Yeah, literally. So I've gone into this place and last night for this dinner. It was a nice dinner, nice people. It was a works thing, but it was cool. Like all good people. And but yeah, the staff, man, like the bar staff were like, it's just so cold, like and like kind of unwelcoming. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, like the Egyptians, man, they're just so warm, friendly, lovely people.
What do you mean it's so cold?
Oh, like just like the mannerisms, the way of it's like walking into a place like that in England, right, in London, particularly in that part of London. It's almost like the bar. It felt like the bar staff was sizing you up to see, are you cool enough to be there? You know what I mean? Are you cool enough to be in this establishment? And no, the answer with me, Patrick, to be honest with you, is no. Like I'm pretty tall. But I'm not like those. I'm not like the kind of people that go there, right? And like for the most
every time I've gone to nice, I swear I was thinking about that the other day. All through my life, when I've gone into a nice restaurant or a nice bar, they look. People, I was like, is it people that don't like me? I mean, when I go out and meet people in life, I mean, I can make friends between the first floor and the 10th floor on an elevator ride. But I walk into a bar. I've even had waiters that have a reason to be nice to me. Just look at me, like, and I'm dressed nice. My wife has dressed me. There's no reason for him to think I'm just maybe I'm some hayseed from Mississippi that's not going to tip well. And I do tip well. But I've always had that snippy, smarmy, just, you know what I mean? The guy just look at me, I crack a joke. The dude has a personality of a fence post.
Yeah,
and
man.
I didn't know you had that experience.
Definitely. And I can go right into that kind of self, like, oh, hello. One of your animals has made an appearance.
Let me tell you what's happening. This cat that just climbed up on the back of the chair here is an Arabian Mau.
Oh, really?
It's an Arabian Mau that ancestors came from Arabia, and that cat is the one that I told you I was walking my dogs. My wife had rescued a cat, Cato, had rescued a cat. Had rescued a cat that was pregnant. So we ended up with like 5 cats. We got a regular petting zoo. And now I'm literally doing MMA fighting with this cat. Cato, get off of here. And we were walking down the street, walking through the lake and out of the woods. And this little kitten comes walking up, like 6 weeks old, little skinny kitten. And most of them would run from you. And Gwen says, I think there's a cat over there. So I walk over there. And then the dude walks up and wraps himself around Cato. And then wraps himself, hey, Gwen, can I get a little help? And then wraps himself around my leg. And now he rules the roost, rules the house. And it is Cato. And I've explained the name of Cato. It's Cato, got the name from Peter Sellers, the Pink Panther, because his assistant that he had told to attack him at any time and at all places to help brush up on his MMA, on his defense skills, was named Cato. And even when Peter Sellers was trying to tell him to stop, he never stopped. Every time he turned around, Cato was trying to attack him. And this cat at 2:00 in the morning, when I'm making a stroll to the bathroom, will jump up and cleave a 2-inch cut on me. So anyway. Yeah, we're wrapping up while I'm in a fight with my Arabian Mau. I think he heard us talking about the homeland, and he showed up.
Yeah.
So were you finishing something? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Man, I think that's about us, really. We don't want to keep the listeners hostage, but I think that's us, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Patrick, as always.
It was a pleasure. I think the lesson that we have learned today, that Richard is very pound wise, dollar wise, very smart with his money, and he is willing to risk getting blown out of the sky to save the deposit he put on his vacation. And the moral of the story is beautiful. It almost brings tears to my eyes that you and Shireen got on that plane thinking, if by chance this random dude on X that said that we're going into a very dangerous place is right, and we do get blown out of the sky, we're going to end up with Jesus. And I think everybody should take that with them for the rest of the week. That's the spirit. No matter what happens to you in life, it's all going to end up, if you follow our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you're going to end up in paradise, a place far more beautiful than where you were making sure you didn't lose money to go to. So beautiful, heartwarming. So, thank y'all for listening. God bless everybody out there. Rich, got any final thoughts?
That's it, man. That's it, Patrick. It's been a real pleasure, and God bless to everyone out there.
All right. Next time, take care.
See you later, my man. Bye.